Is having a family worth it? This is a topic of conversation that came up with a dear old friend of mine that I met up with today. I obviously have a family and think it's absolutely worth it and love it so much. And as I was sharing this with my friend, we started talking about people who are on the cusp. Like, is family in the cards for me or not? And he said he thinks he's on the cusp. He has these thoughts come into his head. Is it worth it? He's got sisters that have kids, and they talk about, that it's no picnic. They think it's the best thing that ever happened to them. At the same time, be prepared for your life to dramatically change. And his concerns and their share are valid. I think something that so many of us are getting wrong is it's not that any one of these things makes your life inherently good or bad. It's not like having a kid automatically makes your life extraordinary. It's not like being single automatically makes your life extraordinary. It's how we do those things. I think we're having this conversation in such an unproductive way. We're talking about the external instead of talking about how we participate in our life. We're talking about whether we should or shouldn't have kids instead of talking about how we want to do it, the dynamic we want to live in, the kind of partnership we want to have. We're so busy being distracted by who's to blame and what the problems are that we're not being creative about the kind of life we want to live. We're kind of looking at the menu going, okay, I've heard from some of my friends who are in long-term relationships. They sound like they're about to get divorced. I've seen my other friends who are so exhausted from having kids. And I've seen my single friend out there who just booked another trip and they're having a blast. So we're basing our life choices on the menu we see in front of us. That's what most people are doing. That's a very limiting approach. We're looking at some options that are in front of us going, which one I prefer? Instead of reconnecting to our inner creativity, going, how would I like this to go? If this could go my way, what would that look like? This is something my wife and I have drilled into the foundation of how we think. I was sharing with my friend that the worst part about being a parent, especially a new parent, hopefully this changes, is all the projected limiting belief advice that other parents give you. That is the most annoying part. Other people telling you how difficult things are and what's going to change and what should or shouldn't be happening. Like, oh, wait till your kid's this age, it's going to be this difficult. It's like, no, it was that difficult for you. And this is where we get all confused and mixed up when we hear all this that's based off of someone's particular situation. We take that in and apply it to our situation, instead of learning the skills and tools to actually create the situation that we desire. My wife and I are about to take another trip with our son. He is only 20 months old and he will now have already been to 6 countries. Now, some people will go, oh, it's because you have a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money, but we're very creative about what we want to do. And someone might say, oh, but you guys, your kid's really young, so that's why you can do it. There are real challenges to face in life. I'm not here to have us pretend that there aren't, but I think we're going about them in such an incorrect, ineffective way. We're trying to figure out, and this is maybe just part of the human condition, we're trying to figure out, how do I control the external circumstances around me so that I can feel better internally? We need to flip that. We need to flip it on its head. Where do I need to evolve? What is my next step in growth so that I'm able to create the external world, the experiences that I want to create? Now we're playing. Now life gets to be this adventure that we're embarking on, not this menu that we have to choose from. Now, for those of you listening, I know if you're not accepting what I'm saying, you're going to have a list of limiting beliefs trying to prove why what I'm saying is not possible or doesn't work. That's the thing that's getting in the way. I'm not saying just pretend they aren't there. We need to address them. We need to kind of break through to figure out a new way. And part of doing that is actually acknowledging that there could be another option. That I don't have to have it like my sister or my mom or my friend or my colleague. I could have it in my own way. One of my one-on-one clients, she brought up the other day 2 options with this guy she's dating of how she could see him, how she could visit him. And she didn't like either one. And I said, okay, great, let's not choose either one. A key part of my coaching is we're looking to see what's the path that you like. The challenge is most people see 2 paths in their life. And most of the time we don't like either of them. It feels like a lose-lose or a lose-win. Well, that just means we want to keep exploring to discover, well, what is the win-win? What's the third option I haven't considered? The third, fourth, fifth, sixth to infinity option that I would really like to go down. And let's make a game around that. Let's make a plan of action around that. Now I'm starting to be the one to influence my direction, to influence the quality of my life, instead of being stuck with a limited set of options. The hardest part about this is that third, fourth, fifth option isn't going to be obvious. It's going to take some looking. And most of us aren't used to taking the time to look. It feels kind of uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. We get scared. It's like, no chance, can't do anything. It's this option or this but it's like, wait, hold on. Can we stay curious? If we can stay curious, I promise you there is always another option. So I'll leave you with this. Consider you're either on one of two paths. You're either fighting for your limitations, arguing for your limitations and why you're stuck and why it's the way it is, or you're standing for what's possible. I am standing for what's possible for you. That's what all this content is for. It's what all my coaching is for. To help break open new possibilities and pathways that feel good to you. Let's have more win-wins.